Are you losing time and positions on track due to suboptimal pit stops? Spoiler alert, the answer is yes. Let's find out how. Welcome back to Campbell Racing for the third installment of my How Do I series. Today we're going to go over pitting. First, we will cover yellow flag stops since that's the most common, and then we will go over green flag stops and pit entry. By far, the biggest issue I see people making on pit road is not going the speed limit. The best part about this is you don't even have to practice it. The box tells you what the speed limit is and how fast you're going. First question, if pit road speed limit is 45 miles per hour, how fast can you go? If you said 45 miles per hour, congratulations, you got it wrong. If pit road speed limit is 45, you can safely go 46 miles per hour without getting a black flag. If you see the slow down sign, then you do need to slow down. But there's a point where the speed will say 46 and you won't get the slow down warning. You want to try to stay this speed the entire way down pit road. People don't think this makes that big of a difference, but I'm about to prove that wrong. I did a quick test and we'll go over my methodology, but feel free to do your own testing to verify. I did 4 runs down pit road. First, I went 46 miles per hour, then 45, 44, and 43 on the subsequent runs. I did not stop and stayed a consistent speed all the way down pit road. I then took a stopwatch, and while watching the replay, I timed how long it took me to go down pit road from entry cone to exit cone. I measured each run 3 times and took the average of the runs. What I'm about to show you will probably shock you because it even shocked me. I did this test at 3 different tracks. First was an intermediate track, and I did this at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Here are the times that I got. So as you can see, at 46 miles per hour, I was on pit road for 20.53 seconds. If I just went the speed limit at 45, I took 20.80 seconds to go down pit road. That is a 0.27 second difference. That's over a quarter of a second. Think about how many people on track you just could not catch from 0.2 seconds back. This erases every single part of that, and all you're doing is essentially playing a mini game on pit road of trying to go one over without getting the slowdown. So next I was like, okay, well, if it's that much at an intermediate, I bet it's going to be even more so at the big draft tracks like Daytona and Talladega. It's got to be, right? It's longer pit road. Not exactly, and I think this is due to the higher pit speed limit. So I went to Talladega, 55 mile an hour speed limit, and as you can see, me going 56 took me 18.92 seconds, and at 55 took me 19.13. So that's still a difference of over 0.2 seconds. It's just 0.21. And as you can see, at 53 miles per hour, it was 0.96. So it was almost a second. That was kind of surprising to me. And actually, I'm on pit road for less time than I am at Charlotte. And so that was all kind of surprising. So that got me to thinking, if I'm on pit road longer at an intermediate track than I am the big draft track, and it's a bigger difference, what does that mean for short tracks? And this was by far the biggest shock to me. For the short track, I went to Dover, and here are the results. At 36 miles per hour, it took me 30.47 seconds to go down pit road. At 35, it took me 31.22. That is 3/4 of a second. And I think I checked this one 5 or 6 times because it just didn't make sense of how big of a difference this was. And if I only went 33 miles per hour, that is a 2.5 second difference on pit road. This isn't including pit entry, pit exit, getting a longer stop. This is just driving down pit road at a certain speed. And to me, that is just an insane amount of time that people are leaving on the track if they're not maximizing their speed. I don't have any footage to show you on this one, but one thing to note, especially if you're the second car, is the first car is going to try to get some separation from you, and that way if he has a little bit longer of a pit stop, it's not going to matter. And so you need to be right on his bumper. People usually do it right after the transition here, but what he's going to do is he's going to gas it up, and then he's going to slam on the brakes right at pit road. And you just need to be aware of that. So usually, like right when they come off here, they're going to gas it up like that, and then they're going to slam on the brakes to get back down to the speed. And so what he's doing is he's trying to get separation, and just don't let him do it. If you're aware of it, you can minimize the amount of gain that he has there. And then if you happen to be faster than him and you're going to get under him, just go ahead and get in the lane here. So it's frowned upon to drive all the way down pit road right here. But if you're going to be under somebody, they would much rather you come all the way down into this lane, because you're not going to be able to make contact with them. If you're just under them, they're going to have to wait for you to go by, or more than likely what's going to end up happening is they're going to come clear themselves, and both of y'all are going to get contact on pit road. So if you do happen to be going faster than somebody and you get under them, just go ahead and drive down here and then take the spot. Another way to maximize your time on pit road is when you're leaving your box. The best way to practice this is to go into an online practice session and then go into your own group. That way you're alone on track. But the reason you want to do this in an online session as opposed to offline is it will give you black flags if you're doing it wrong. And so that way you get that immediate feedback. But anyway, so when you're leaving your box, the pit road speed limit is 45. What a lot of people do is they'll go out and they'll go up to about 40, and then they'll just try to match the speed as best they can. You can actually go several miles per hour over as long as you slow down quickly enough. And so I'm just going to back up here. And you can get a couple of tests in per pit road. Is another reason that I like to start from back here. But as you leave, you can go over the 45 and then slow back down. So I was over 50 miles an hour there, but because I slowed down so quickly, it's not going to trigger it. So you don't want to go too far over, but you can definitely go several miles an hour over without getting a black. And so if you've ever felt like somebody leaving their box just barely got that nose out ahead of you, that's probably how they did it. Now let's talk about green flag stops and pit entry. A lot of people, when they first start doing longer races, whether it be league races or open sets, they're way too passive on their pit entry because they don't want to get a black or something like that. But the reality is, if you're too passive on pit entry and you lose all that time, you're losing way more time than you are ever going to gain with like the pit road speed trick or exiting your box cleanly or something like that. So if this pit stop looks familiar to you, then you are definitely going way too slow on pit entry. Another thing to note is just like leaving your box, you can go faster and then slow down to pit speed. You can do the exact same thing on pit entry. I think it's 10 miles an hour. It might be more than that, but you want to aim for like 5 to 8 miles an hour over when you're coming across the line. And as long as you slow down really quickly, you're not going to get a black flag. So you just want to practice this just for time's sake. Do it on new tires, and then whenever you find your marker, just realize you're going to have to back it up for old tires. And if you have an aggressive rear brake bias, then make sure to move it forward, or else you're going to slide. But yeah, you just want to make sure that you're coming across about 5 to 8 miles an hour over, and really try to nail that, because if you're way too slow on pit entry, then you're never going to make that time out. So let's just try this one more time. I'm going to be really aggressive here. And I would be adjusting my brake bias now if I needed to, but I'm good to go. And we're right at it. So yeah, the truth is, if you're too passive on green flag stops, you're going to lose more time on the entry than you can gain doing everything else correctly. And so this is super important. And where you're gaining like a second on the pit road speed limit thing, you can gain way more than that here. So you can possibly gain, 2-3 seconds on track just with a solid pit entry and using the other tips in this video. All right, well, that's all I've got for us today in this episode of How Do I? Hopefully you learned something and can maximize your time on pit road and hopefully gain some positions out of it. Next week, we will be wrapping up the series with our How Do I Practice. I'm going to go over how I practice long run and short run. And yeah, that'll do it for the series. So if you found something useful, I would appreciate you hitting the like and subscribe button. If you found something wrong or found something better, let me know in the comments, right? Definitely don't want to be putting out incorrect information. And this is all about learning. So if you've got something that can improve this even further, then by all means, please let me know. Having said that, that'll do it from here. Thanks for watching.